I only have about a few minutes before I'm going to make my mom some dinner. And I wanted to talk about first how long this program has been. For me, it's been since the mid 80s, 86, 87, I broke my arm. It was during the Star Wars, Ronald Reagan creating this satellite technology to fight the Soviet Union. We thought a good thing, but we did not know that Star Wars program and the satellites and all that would evolve into the Targ Individual program, using the same satellites, kind of like the dome in Israel, to, when you're in pain and looking for answers, you pray up, like to the sky or heavens, and that's the answer we get, and it's by the people in our own hometown. And while they're chanting, drain the swamp, the swamp being Washington, D.C., or any corrupt politicians that go around doing corrupt things for money. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't think of more corruption than taking children, teenagers, young men, young women, old women, it doesn't matter, and torturing them from a distance with a technology where you can get, where it doesn't leave much physical evidence unless you can get the radiation, the little beeper things, the scanners. Whether they can turn them on or off, I don't know on their side, but and they do it to you for years, and all you're in, like me, you're in pain for 30 years. You go to your doctors, you go to specialists, and nobody tells you what's going on. You just know you're in pain. You don't want to be in pain, so you go to specialists. You're not trying to get drugs. You just want somebody to fix your side pain or whatever the pain is, if it's headaches. And then in my case, after 30 years of that, then started doing the V2K thing. And that became, even though as horrible as it is, that at least when you don't know what's causing or what the name of your side pain is, or what's causing it, and you go to specialists, and they send you to specialists, the whole time they could have told you, but I don't know, probably non-disclosures, who knows. I'm glad they did something. I'm glad they sent me to specialists and got pain meds, but it's kind of like when they put you on a pain program, a government-sponsored pain program, and try to get you to kill yourself, literally. But they're conservative Christians, by the way. Some might be liberal Christians. 98% of them are, at least in small towns, are conservative Christians, going along with a torture program. They can blame it on the Masonic Lodge. There might be some Masons. There might be some atheist scientists that are making this. But the ones taking the money in your hometown, what do you think they are? Do you think there's a cabal of, or are they just capitalists that just take money from anything, and if it's torture, going along with the program for suicide, they're just capitalists. They don't give a fuck. They just think the money's green. And even if they did know, and they wouldn't care less. It's not like they're lining up to do the right thing now. Those people in blue, they were mad when it was George Floyd. 10 minutes, that guy put his neck on that man's, put his knee on his neck with a camera. In our situation, as horrible as that was, in our situation, they pay people to come in and do this daily to us, every day. B2K, hitting with direct energy weapons. In my own case, over 35 years now, getting these hit to the heart. It's always been to the heart. I rarely ever get to the head. I've had it just a couple times, but always constantly to the heart. And now, because of V2K, and I found out what the voices were, it was V2K. Who has V2K? Targeted individuals. And so that's what it was. And then my side pain was D.E.Ws, not targeted individuals, get these pains from directed energy. I was in high school, I was just, after breaking my arm in football, I was, to them, an experimental guinea pig. In a very religious, conservative town, by the way. I went to the hospital. They fixed my arm and shoulder from the football, and then they went along. Anyway, for people who have had the heart direct energy weapons, in my case, it started with this double over side pain. And it feels, it's kind of like over here where you're doing this, like praying, or put your hand over your heart like you're doing the Pledge of Allegiance, this part. Even though the heart, I guess, might be technically somewhere, but it's the left ventricle area over here. And they hit that part, that same location in that heart, because that numbs you, and the pain of it tries to almost make it like feel necrotic, to where the most intense of your feelings, your emotions, it hits right in that area, to where maybe you can have a little bit of feeling. You have an awareness, mental awareness, if somebody does you wrong, or good even, but the ability to feel the depth of emotion and the physical pain of being hit is what they're doing to you. Now, for me, it's been over 35 years. It's nice to finally know what it is. And now, of course, you look at the people in your hometown and that work at the city hall. And when you've been raised religious, conservative, and studied for the ministry, in the evangelical world, you're kind of raised to believe and are taught that they're good people. Law enforcement is good. They wouldn't do that. Look at them. They're chanting, "Drain the swamp." They wouldn't go out of they wouldn't torture somebody. I mean, it's one thing if a person gets drunk and hits somebody in a drunk driver. It's horrible enough, but it's an accident. Or if somebody does make a mistake, it's a bad day. In this situation, they literally pay people every single day. They wake up in the morning, or whenever they do, they take shifts, and give you voice to skull, drive you nuts, shoot little satellite, the same thing as Havana syndrome. They shoot the same thing they did to the FBI, CIA people, Kamala Harris's people, the White House, they did it there at the White House, some of these people. And they pay people to come in every day to do this to you. I don't know if it's life insurance. Anyway, what happens is that after a while you feel like an empty spot. Now I'm not talking just the religious, God put a hole in your heart and he wants to, because a lot of people, they literally try to make it to where there's a part of you that an area that you're not able to feel the depths of your emotions. That's, you can feel and you have an awareness, but they're literally blocking that ability. Now, for years, I always thought, because I was raised, and Robert Duncan talks about them using religious, beliefs, religious programs on people, and that was true of me. From 7th grade on, just studied just constant religion, apologetics, Josh McDowell, creation versus evolution, almost to the point of, really not just almost, it was to the form of a type of OCD called scrupulosity, where you're always thinking, is this right? And trying to overcome your doubts about religion, your doubts about faith. Why is this, of course, the problem of evil, and the issue of prayer, and all these religious and theological issues that you're trying to believe and put faith in, but you have questions and doubts. And if that stuff becomes obsessive, I don't know if through their satellite, if they can hit the part of your brain, of the basal ganglia, but that's kind of what, it's like your brain does a hiccup. And that's what makes you get the repetitive, because it doesn't just go through. So, anyway, Mom's here, so I gotta go. Bye.